is air coming from the truck. This does not have a high CFM, so it's not going to air this tire up. It will eventually, but it will take forever for it to. You can use small tools, you know, like a grinder or something to that nature, you know, to do something with that. That's what it is. And it's using the air compressor air from what the air compressor on the truck is putting out. Dry chem hose, your product. You have your activation switch, your rewind switch. You have a manual handle there to manually roll it in and out, and then this is your braking for your roller. This switch, you can activate the dry chem from here. It is a momentary three second hold. It will activate. This little light right here, and we'll go over it this afternoon more, but when it's solid, that means you have charged the system and you're going to get product. If the light is blinking, that means you're in maintenance mode and you're only going to get nitrogen or breathing air out of it. After it goes solid here, there's no indication to tell you that it is ready to fight fire. You're gonna have to go back in the cab, and I'll show you on the display in the cab where they equalize out. That way you know it's ready to charge. But you can't activate it from here. So be aware of that when you're messing with it and playing with it or whatever. If you accidentally hold that button for 3 minutes, or 3 seconds, I mean, you're going to activate the system and you're gonna induce dry chem into the system. And you're going to go through the whole process of cleaning it out. It's either 16 to 20. It's a variance on how much dry chem is in your vessel to how much pressure you have. Here, y'all have had the option of a step. Do not let this just fall and hit because it will break. But you have the option of a step on this side and on the other side. This is to get in this, because normally this is a compartment with a drawer in it, not dry chem. In there is a green red hat valve. We call them red hat valves, but it's a green solenoid. That is the drain for the deluge system. So it works all independent of itself. So when you hit the button, it closes this one, it opens the one that's normally closed, and it turns this pump on. So then, therefore, it comes from through here, and you'll see right here, see there, this is your deluge filter. It's got a little screen in it, like what would be like a screen on a door, window, or anything like that. That needs to be cleaned out every once in a while. But you can see, you visually inspect and see how it has the little screen inside there. It just unscrews. Water will not continue to flow as long as that valve is working correctly. You open it up, water will flow out, clean it all out, put it back in, and then you'll have to turn the system on to fill that back up. It's just a screw in, screw back out, got a seal on it. When you kill the deluge system, this valve opens up and all the water from the cab drains out. This is your primary and secondary activation. They can be activated from in the cab as well as here. These is your secondary to it. I recommend when you go to fight a fire, you pull it all out, and then at the very end of it, you're popping it, and you should have somebody out there or somebody here. That's when you hit this. So when you do this number right here, there's going to be a signal inside that cab on that display that tells you that that is activated. It does not give you a signal when this is activated. This is the secondary to this. This is telling it, I'm wanting you to ramp up and I'm gonna go. This is telling you, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna open the ball valve and you're gonna have water. And it will go both ways. If you activate this right here, just like that, because it's a momentary switch, this light will come on. If you move that, you're going to accord it in there. But with that in that position and this on, you're not going to get anything. The driver can activate it from the inside or here. Everything foam-wise and pressure-wise is designed to run from the cab. That is crash pressure. That is telling the system, I want to do crash mode, crash pressure, which is 250 on this truck right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it can be adjusted, but it's at 250 right now.
Okay.
And that's how everything is based. That's how the foam consistency is based. That's how the GPM and all the orifices on everything on this truck is based off that 250 PSI.
So will it open under 255 PSI, or is it gonna
It'll
not
open over anything? This truck, you have to have it in neutral and the park brake applied for any of
Hand
these
lines.
will
Okay.
work.
Okay.
If you have it in neutral and you have the parking brake released, it is not going to allow
Yeah.
these three items to work. Because it runs off a secondary flow switch that are located back here. There's a flow switch. Let's see here. Yes, you can see it here. So you'll see this gray box in between them two big tolerances right there.
Yeah.
That's a flow switch.
Oh, okay.
So
Alright.
when the parking brake is applied, it's telling through the J1939 CAN system that, hey, the parking brake is applied. I want you to read off of that flow switch now. This button is, if you open it up and it didn't ramp up, you push and hold this button with the nozzle open to let the water flow through it. It will push the water through it, then it'll pick it up and then you let go of it and it'll go back to the pressure you were at. This is the blow down switch. It has no air on it right now because it's not above 90 PSI. But this is only for this hose reel. It has nothing to do with dry chem. Nothing to do with dry chem. I know it says blow down, but it's not blow down for the dry chem. It's only for this. This has a line right here. Okay, the valve itself is right here.
Okay. Yeah.
But you see that little 45 right there going into the
okay.
into the piping?
That right there.
That is putting air.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
When this is on,
Yeah.
it's putting air in there to do that. It has a one-way check valve back there that will prevent water from going into the air side of it. But with the ball valve closed, which is this handle right here, this is what activates the hose reel on and off. You have this off, turn this on, you'll bleed all the water out of the system. That's for two things. It's to winterize it and to take the weight of the hose after you have it all out, take the weight less so it's not so much of a strain on that motor to roll it back up. All right, rewind hose. This is your button to reel your hose back up for your reel.
So these are automatic nozzles. Or,
Yes.
Okay.
They're automatic nozzles, 100 PSI. There's a certain amount of flow at 100 PSI. So y'all have the EcoLogic system on this truck. So what that means is the foam system is gonna read the water flow and the foam flow. So what this is metering only the water that is displaced from the pump. That's the outlet of the pump discharging, so it's reading the volume of the pump. This is a momentary switch for the lights on this side. So with the key switch on, there is no generator on this truck. So everything's LED 24-volt system on this truck. So this is a momentary on and off. So if you're out here, they have the capability of turning it on in the truck. But if you're out here on the scene and you're the only person out here or whatever have you, you can flip this on and it'll turn that on. Shielded ground. They're going to be twisted in a pair and they're going to run the whole front length of this truck. And they all integrate in the cab. Well, that's what a mechanic normally. But I mean, I'll teach you all about it. I can tell you everything you want to know about that. You have 5 CAN networks on this truck, I believe. You have your turrets, you have your firefighting, your powertrain, your transmission, and then you have your cab.
So everything runs through the hand.
Okay, so all them plugs inside that dash, they're all J1939. So that whole row of switches, that power thing, J1939 goes in there. If you hit that one switch, like I was showing you all the other day, to light all of them up, it's telling you, just like that I want all of them on, and I want all of them off. And it's holding that setting for you till you cycle the peak. That's why when it talks for 6 hours after it's shut off, like I told you yesterday, that's what's talking to itself. All them different cans are talking to everybody saying they're all good. All right.
6 hours?
Up to 6 hours after the key's turned off. That's why it's very vital this truck is always plugged up. The reason why I crank the truck is, one, this is a British standard truck, not an American standard. So the buzzer goes off until it reaches 90 PSI. So that siren that you heard is going to continue to go off until the truck reaches 90 PSI, then it'll do it. That's for 2 things. One thing is British standard. The other thing is to let you know your firefighting system is able to be operational.
When it's tough.
When the buzzer goes off and you have 90 PSI in both tanks, that means the firefighting equipment will be able to work. Firefighting equipment, because it's air, it's electronic over air, it has to have 90 PSI for the firefighting system to work. That's why this truck works. All right, when we go over the cab, you'll see there's different lines on that thing. The red, if it's above the red, that's 60 PSI. If you're both above the red, you should be able to release your brakes and leave out of the thing while the buzzard's still going off. I don't know if y'all heard it or were paying attention, but it's just like that. The 90 PSI is there, it goes off.
Now, does it always drop?
It's gonna sit here overnight. It has an auxiliary compressor on the truck. It is designed to keep at least 60 PSI in the air tanks of this truck. So that way, when in an event of emergency, you get in it, crank it up, boom, you're done.
So this
You
one
can
doesn't
leave.
So
have-
once
this
that
one doesn't have
fails-
a plug.
When
How-
what fails?
Below 60. compressor.
That compressor,
Okay, so when the compressor fails, if it does fail,
Let's just say it.
15 seconds to be able to leave the stage.
to pick up above 60.
It's a rapid response air compressor on the truck. Should be somewhere around 15. This is your roll mac valves. This controls all of your ball valves basically on this truck. In a nutshell, anything to do with firefighting and all that. So there is a label that tells you how they're stacked on here. All right. So in the event of emergency, if you call for the bumper turret to be working and it does not come on, you can come back down here, read down to which turret you want, and hit the button. I'm gonna do the tank close because I know it's number 2.
Again, so you can record it?
Yeah.
So you're gonna push it in and pull it up. And that puts it in the manual override. You'll look right here, you'll see the ball valve moving.
Push in and then turn it up.
That's manually overriding the system to put air into it to close it,
If it wasn't working.
if it wasn't working. All these arrows at all times, if you have a situation with it not working the right way, they all should be facing that way down. That puts it into the mode of electronically over air. Now we're gonna move on to the screen. All right, this is your pump panel screen. When you turn it on, you're telling the truck, I wanna operate from here. So that totally disables and overrides everything inside that cab. So when we were talking about crash pressure earlier, that's why you activate everything from in the cab. If you come here and turn this on, you are no longer in crash pressure. So, I'm gonna go through them. This, when you hit preset, if you're in RPMs, you'll notice RPMs is standing right there. If you go to pressure, it puts pressure right there. All right, so your presets that are on this truck that can be adjusted, if you hit preset, you'll see that the screen, I had to turn the water pump on because it wants the water pump to come on to begin with. You heard me activate the water pump. You hit preset and see how all of them come green now? That's telling you, hey, look, you can do something now. You hit preset, it goes to 180. So you have 180 PSI on this truck. That does not mean that you're gonna get this 100 and, this all is based off that crash pressure. The testing and everything is off 250 PSI. So if you're gonna fight a fire with this, it's not designed to fight a fire basically with this and get the exact amount of foam out of the end of it. It will put foam out, it will shoot foam, it will do all that, but it will not be, it might not be exactly 3%. It'll be pretty dang near close, but more than likely it's probably gonna be richer. More than likely. I mean, I can't be 100% on that until you actually trust but verify, but it will do that. But it'll be totally different. All right, and then if you go to RPMs, of course it changes it and it throws it back down. You hit preset on it, and it is 1600 RPMs is what the preset on this truck is. To do 1600 RPMs or 180 PSI. If you're in this mode, you always want to go back to idle before you do anything else. Idle. You notice when I turn the pump off, how all the lights change back out? That's because it doesn't have the capability of doing that anymore.
Is that the blue button? You gotta leave
Water.
it down, or it's just
You gotta push and hold
push and hold? Okay.
for 3 seconds.
You should hear it.
Yeah, see how I just hit it and it didn't do it? But if I do it and hold it, the truck will actually, when the truck's running, it'll change. And the truck might be below air now. You see how it comes on now?
And then to turn it off, you just click it?
Just turn it off, is off. Foam the same way. So if you did foam and hold it for 3 seconds, See how it opened the foam valve? That's drain out, because I had the drains open to drain the system. All right, see how this light come on? I did that so I can show you this light. This truck will tattletale on itself. It'll tattletale on everybody in here. So, if this is ever on, this means either A, you went and done a fire of some sort, or somebody did something they wasn't supposed to be doing. So if you go to this, I'm showing you here so that way everybody can see it. All this should be done from inside the cab. And we will go over it this afternoon inside the cab and do all of it inside the cab. But you hit that button, it puts you into a different mode. This is the same exact thing basically you're gonna see inside the cab. You're gonna go to, it says foam system needs to be cleaned. So I'm gonna hit foam flush. When I hit foam flush, it's putting water into the system. And it says foam system open any discharge. I'm gonna exit out of it so it doesn't keep putting a whole lot of water in there. But when it says open any discharge, when it's for the foam, that means somebody literally just hit the button, activated it, and turned it back off. If you hit the button and activate it and you shoot it out at any discharge, it's going to read it right there and tell you hose reel, pre-connect, roof, bumper, all of it. It'll tell you which one you shot it out of. This afternoon when we shoot it, you'll see how quick it clears the code. This is only an indication to let you know that you did something. So, as soon as I flow the hose reel, if I did the hose reel on here, as soon as it sees water, it's gonna immediately clear it here and say everything's clean. That does not mean the truck is clean. All that means is it's seen a signal from the water flow going through there that water is going through there. That does not mean the truck's clean. You're gonna have to run it just like you do the older trucks until it clears out. You visually see it clear out. Got any questions? Oh, this is to aerate the system. I'm not gonna hit it because I don't wanna do this right now, but that would be like fluffing the tank. You can do it all electronically now. There is no more doing the ball valves and all that stuff to disable product valves and everything. It does it all electronically for you now.
Now you just push the button.
So that would aerate, fluff the system.
We'll do it later.
And then this is the blow down button I was telling you about earlier. When you hit this button and you click that, that light will be flashing in maintenance mode. I don't want to do it right now because if I did that and did that, it would charge that line and you put all that nitrogen in there, then we had to bleed it all the way down. But if you hit this button and you go to maintenance mode there and hit it, it's gonna flash. Now, if you turn that off and turn it back on, it's gonna put it back in crash mode. So every time you do something, it's gonna have a reaction to it. So if you have it in maintenance mode and you turn it off and you want to go to a fire, you can turn it off real quick, run to the fire, activate it, it's gonna go back into its dormant crash mode. So it's gonna say, okay, we're not in blowdown no more, you're wanting product. So you're gonna activate it. That's why I was talking about, make sure when you're doing this, if it's a blinking light, you're good to go to play with it. If it's a solid light, that means, oh man, I made a boo-boo. I need to shut it off. If you're not fighting a fire at that point in time, shut it off. Go through the sequence to put it in blow down and blow the system out. We all good on that? All right, I'm gonna exit out of this. All right, so this dims and brightens your screen. And this does daylight and dark depending on what your atmosphere you are outside. So this is your water tank level. This is your foam tank level. As you can see, we have no foam in it because I'm trying to drain it all out, get it all dry. This is your pump pressure, and as when we change them, the pressure goes here, analog, digitally. RPMs are gonna be analog, digitally here. Same way, depending on where you swap it at. All in your preference.
The screen isn't touch screen, right? It's just a button.
This screen is not, the one in cab is.
Okay.
All right, got any questions about anything else about this?
What's that?
Does it have it?
The orange thing on this right here, this is an indication to tell you that I have took possession and control of the truck from the panel.
Also that.
All
the
because of
left
that
button.
one, because of that left button?
All because of this button right here. See how it goes away now?
Okay.
But does the brake have to be applied?
No.
No.
It will,
Okay.
we'll trust but verify that, but I believe even if you have it in a neutral state without the parking brake applied, you should be able to override it here. There's no reason to do that.
Yeah.
You always want to operate and fight fire from the truck. I'm going to reiterate that the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
This is only if you're wanting to practice and play with your cross lays and stuff like that, or mop up mode. Yes, you can put it in here, just like I was telling you what I did with Rudy. Put the pump in gear, and you can hit the plus sign and watch it and bring your pressure up. You can do that. I don't recommend that, but you can do that to turn it up and down. So like if you come here, you put the pump in pump mode, pump's activated now. So I'm wanting to go over here and I'm wanting to do, we're gonna do pressure over here so you can see pressure over. I'm gonna hit preset. It's gonna come up here and it's gonna hit the 180. So then if I hit plus, you see how the arrow's still moving?
Going up, yeah.
I can
you're
bring
able
him
to
on
adjust
up
it.
there to 240
Now,
or
once
whatever.
you adjust it and you turn it off, it'll go back to its preset.
It fails to the preset.
So it'll always.
It'll always do the 160. But if you're out there and you're saying, okay,
You want
he wants a
more.
little bit more, we'll give him a little bit more. So you can practice and play with it. Same way with going down. Now, if you're up here at 240 and you hit idle, of course it's going to idle it back down. And when you hit the preset, you'll see it goes back to the one. The only telltale is on this is if this is eliminated, you can go there and say, okay, well when the truck is running, I'll show you what it's doing. But when you come up here, see, I won't let me do anything because I did not give it acknowledgement. So I had to give it acknowledgement that I want to have power. And then I come here to this, and then I go to flush mode. It tells me open any discharge. When it says that verbiage, that means somebody literally just pushed and held the button and turned it back off. They didn't flow foam anywhere. This would be an instance where it would tattletale on you.
So I guess the captain's question is more, say, yes, they did throw foam, right? But they know how to, not override, but clear the fault.
You won't never know.
You'll never know.
So right now it says open discharge, so I can
So
open
if I
this
open the
right now.
discharge, flush it out, we'll never know.
That's right.
It's only if they leave it and not clean it out.
Mhm.
It stays. Yeah, it stays.
That's
Okay.
right.
So once I open the discharge, it'll clear out that code.
Yes.
And flow water through that discharge, right?
Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
see
'cause
water
it
flow.
needs to.
Now, in the
You
event that
still
there's
gotta
really,
flow
in the event there's
take the
really
shit out.
foam on this truck, and not just water like it is right now, but there's really foam on the truck, and you hit the button to turn it on and coming out, you're gonna know that they're doing it because they're gonna be gone for a while. Because they're actually gonna have to go flow water through it to clean all the foam out. So if they do like you're talking about, they put it in this mode and they open that up and it clears and this doesn't show nothing.
Yeah.
The next crew comes out and they do a check on the truck
See a little
and they
bit of
run it and they see foam
Suds,
residue,
yeah.
you're gonna know somebody did something.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way over here to this white meter right here.
Okay.
And that white meter is closed. So you have that much water, so you foam, so you probably have, with that piping the diameter, maybe a gallon, something to that nature. You know, more or less a gallon of foam in there. So they're gonna shoot the truck and flush it. So when they put it in flush mode, it closes that ball valve and it opens another ball valve that's back there in the back that induces water into this system. So it's gonna put water behind that gallon of foam and push it out. Are they more than likely gonna get it all out if they're smart enough to run it all the way? Yes. You're probably not gonna have residual. You'll probably never see that. But in the event that they did a roof turret or a bumper turret and they accidentally run it, they actually put it in foam and they accidentally hit the button and they go, oh crap, I did the wrong thing, turn it off. There's gonna be that much foam in there. You understand the concept of it? So then you're going to push all that foam out. Now it cleans out fairly quick. Put it in foam mode and you're not getting the amount of foam or what you like foam wise. Like something's going wrong with the truck. You open this up. That will allow it to go around. If you look inside here, you will see it goes around that meter and goes through there and comes out. So this is where the foam is inducted into the truck.
So you're gonna override it, but is there a specific percentage that's going in through it?
It's gonna give you foam. I couldn't tell you on this one, since you don't have a poppet system,
No.
what exactly that percentage is gonna be.
But you're gonna get foam.
You're gonna get foam.
And you're gonna get foam through every discharge?
Well, the way this truck works is this does not have a poppet system on this
Discharge
truck.
specific.
So it's an electronic proportion valve. So right here, if you look inside here, you'll see a red ball valve right there. See that red end right there? It's an electronic proportion valve. So that is gated and monitored with that white valve right there. See that white valve right there?
The one lower to the right?
Yes. And this valve right here. Them two valves are going to this box, and this box is controlling that gated electronic valve down there. So it's saying, okay, I got 900 gallons a minute of water coming out of here. I need to turn this ball valve X amount of turnage to allow that much flow to go through there. And then that one's reading, yeah, you got that much flow through there. So yeah, that's what 3% is going to be. And that is calculated. That's why I said, do not touch this.
Don't ever, ever, ever touch
I think this time his wife, that's the name.
Yeah, my wife.
Hey, I understand the whole life thing, buddy. I ain't gonna lie to you there.
So
All right.
when you open that, you're opening it up all the way or
Full
just
throttle.
All the way.
All the way.
If you're that far in an emergency situation, you're just gonna throw the foam on there. You're in an ideal emergency situation. This is not practicing. This is not training. This is a live fire out there. You're not getting nothing from the truck. You're gonna get something from the truck now.
It's gonna go super rich.
And I saw
More than likely, yes.
this one has a drain and that one has a drain. Master drain, master drain.
All right. So that drains that plumbing. So like
Gotcha.
the discharge, the pre-connects and all that upper stuff right there, it'll drain all that. This, if you look at it, is tied to the lower portion of this plumbing, and it'll drain all it. Like a master drain, like a bunch of them's tied together to go to that. And then you'll see that you have a foam drain. That's draining that piping system right there, that little small piping. So in the event that somebody does accidentally hit that button, you can do this right here. Find out where it is, put your bucket up under there and catch the foam. It goes through that ball valve, comes over here to this, and then it either, if you're gonna bypass, it comes up and it goes over, and you can see the plumbing coming up right here. It'll 90 over, and it comes back to the backside, and it comes to this piping right here. So if it was gonna come the right way, it would come here. If it comes through the actual valve, it comes through here, comes through the centrifuge to this piping right here, sucks into the intake of the pump for the water because of the suction of it, goes through the water pump out to whatever discharge you have. And the reason why it monitors this is because even though that's a 4-inch, 5-inch pipe or whatever it is, this is calculating how much water is actually moving through there. So that way it adjusts to whatever flow it is. So obviously the roof turret's going through there, it's gonna open that ball valve way more because it sees more water coming through.
So is it always set at 3%?
Yes.
There's no proportioning it to 6 or whatever other 1%. I mean, whatever percentage can
Yes,
use
you can set this truck to what you want to set it at.
as it's running.
You do
or-
not touch it.
Oh, exactly. That's why. So it's like permanently fixed at that
Correct.
proportion. It's not like
We don't have a switch to.
It's-
Yes, there is presets on this truck where you can do that. You can have the capability of changing all that.
but this one didn't come with it.
All right, so if you hit this button at any point in time, it kills the whole truck. The whole truck.
Oh, shit.
It kills the whole truck.
Get that on film.
That's if it's running away. I mean, that would be a disaster going on, but yes, it would kill the whole
Is that
truck.
a simple push, or you gotta hold it down for 3 seconds?
It should be just a hit and it should kill it. All right, this is your relief valve. Do not touch this. Do not mess with this.
Don't touch it!
It is preset to crash mode. This is not a structure truck. You're not going to regulate the pressure on this truck
Put a damn lock button.
to fight a fire. You're going to fight it in crash mode at all times.
So you said this is also going to
You
be
guys never
clean?
used it back in the day?
See, the water's coming out.
Every 2 weeks or some sort.
You turn this off, you'll see the water quit
What
coming.
happens to do
No, it's a micro screen.
Never fuck with that. I don't
Did you say clean this out also?
Quarterly. I wouldn't really worry about it that much. All right, this is your water fill to your tank. Notice it says 80 psi max. So be aware that your hydrant really doesn't need to be over 80 psi. So if you tie it to a high pressure hydrant, we don't recommend that. Am I saying it will or will not take it? Use your judgment call. That's why the warning label's there. You can fill from this, or you can fill from this.
Remember, these are
your
on our-
drains
on our phone.
to drain that
We'll
out
put
so
them
you can
together
take your
with
hose off. Here, if you got this, it's gonna pull air out, you know. That pump's got so much pull on it.
You're gonna, oh, it's gonna.
Unless it's got a long step up to pull, it's gonna pull it pretty daggone quick. Your air and your primer is not gonna have to be next to
It's
none.
like the 2.5 section inlet you have on.
Okay, so we have
36.
our intakes, right? You said they come in
But
here, you
again,
gotta open
we're
it.
not gonna use that.
The fill
And
them.
Cap was asking, so it comes up here,
And then
And
90s,
then 90s.
90s right here.
90s back that way.
Back that way,
Okay.
right there. It's literally right there.
Yeah, Cap was asking.
To the tank.
To the tank, yes. It
Okay,
literally goes
all right.
right there to the tank. That's
Okay.
the bottom of the tank right there.
Yeah, all right. So this one's directly to
So-
the tank.
This is direct, and what's coming up here?
That's the draft. It
That's
is
what I was
90s from here. It comes right there,
Yeah, 'cause
comes
you're-
up, and it drafts over to here.
Okay.
To go into your release, to go around to go into there.
But if you were to be drafting from the ocean, this is where you're connecting to.
If you want to get a
First of
main
all,
water
you-
supply.
From a body of water. Body of water. Body of water.
I
Body
said
of
that.
water.
I've been a smart
Body of water, please.
He was being a smart ass.
Body
I'm being
of water,
a smart ass
please.
with it.
Hey, it takes a lot of water.
I'll
What he's
take
trying
you to
to
the
say is
ocean
it takes
right
a lot
now.
of water, so you're not going to be drafting.
Ideally, you would not draft from this truck.
So that's why I'm being a smart ass with him. Relax, calm down.
They take it to the extreme.
Oh shit,
And
man.
that is why we're putting the box right here.
Says the driver. Says the driver.
This is the tank to pump valve.
Yeah, that's the main.
Butterfly valve right there. It cuts the water from the tank off from the pump. We understand that, right? All right. This is another one. It has a label. Pump suction.
That's
If you
basically
wanted to suck here at a smaller hose,
like to take the 5
then from the 5 inch.
for the ocean.
Of course, this is the pump. All right, now I want to back over here to this controller. This is your EFOM
Don't fuck with
EcoLogic
it.
system. All right, so it has
Don't even
a
record.
USB port.
No, Viela, no.
Not
Put
for
your camera
charging.
to it.
No.
At
For charging.
no point in time are you to stick anything in this.
Whoa.
Don't touch it!
The only time you're ever going to mess with this port is if you're instructed to. And you have documentation that somebody's backing you up just saying you're supposed to touch it. If you do not put a 4-minute memory stick that has nothing on it on there, this offloads everything from it. So if it has a picture of whatever on it and it sucks it in there, boom, $5 grand. Just like that, $5 grand, gone. So that's why you don't mess with this at all. It's best not to touch it at all. All right, on your system, I'm going to go through the history and show you. This is currently what this truck done. This is the last test we did on all this truck. So it'll tell you the date and the time when it was done. It'll tell you the foam percentages on each outlet and the flows on each outlet. So if you go right here and you see the pre-connect 1, you're asking how many gallons a minute it done. It done 132.3 at 3% of foam. And they done it on September the 5th of 2024 at 12:24 in the afternoon. We played with the under trucks yesterday, and we did it one time at 10:15. We did it yesterday afternoon.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
They did 90 gallons a minute at 3.1% foam, and then we messed with the hose reel, so everybody get a chance on it. The hose
Foam.
reel did
Just let me
116.
So then it does.
So no, it doesn't
Give you
record. No, because this one we're gonna test it, and if
Oh.
you test it and you don't save it, it never
Never registers. So
yeah, it
that's
never
where
becomes a
it's
record.
testing.
We'll do it later on. You're actually gonna have to test. You're gonna have to save it, and that's how it's gonna translate into this history log.
All right, so when you hit, like I'm gonna go back to the front. So when you hit history, if you got your inspector or whatever comes up here, you can hit history. As soon as you hit history, it's gonna give you the latest current configuration of all of what you tested, what you saved. Now, if you wanted to archive and look back later, you can go up and down and you can actually see.
All the things that y'all.
If you'll see right here, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests yesterday.
And we'll do that today, guys.
We did 6 different tests yesterday. So it records all of it. And this is the life of the truck. As long as this is
But it's
running,
recording because you're telling it to record.
You're saving it.
Yeah.
Correct.
it is a slave.
Yes. Whatever you're.
Whatever you tell it to do, it's going to do. Now, with that in mind, when you go here, I'm going to simulate this. We're going to actually do it this afternoon, but we're going to simulate this now. So you're going to go hit test. It tells you step by step what to do. So then you hit the next button. It tells you even if foam is needed, just hit the exit immediately. It puts it back in crash mode. Fail safe is always crash mode. So you're going to hit next. You notice how it opens up above up. It tells you and does stuff for you automatically. So then you're going to go up and down with your up and down arrows.
Which one you're going to test?
And you're going to select which one you're going to test. Now, with that being said, under trucks is under trucks, of course. Your hose reel 1 is whatever you deem it to be. This is a slate. So if I put hose reel 2 on here and highlighted it, and I run that, it would send a signal up there where I archived it at. It would say hose reel 2 did it at this date this way. It does not care what output it is. I could do hose reel 2 and shoot the bumper. It would record it, and it would say hose reel 2 it did this many gallons a minute and this percentage of foam. This is a slate, so it's very important when you come down here to your primary and secondary turrets that you know which one is which.
Primary is going to be bumper, secondary is going to be top trigger.
But they both shoot the same.
No, they shoot differently. As you do, I'm going to hit exit so that way you can see that. You're saying that.
No, I was
I'm going to show you.
Gallons per minute or what?
Should
Yeah.
be the same GPM.
So, secondary turret flowed 650 at low flow, 3%. Secondary turret at high flow flowed 1323. So that's your bumper, is where they put that at. No, they're both the same on this truck.
they should be the same.
Okay.
That's how they should be.
1250.
Y'all
It
said
should
the
be
same.
625, 1250.
So they're the same on both of them.
That's how
So
they-
if you mix them up, it's not that big of a deal, but you want to try to keep that baseline the same for your testing goes.
So you know that, okay, every time we do main, it's primary is going to be the bumper.
Well, the
All right, so-
primary is going to be bumper.
So if Joe Blow, if AB come out here, I'm just picking on you, I'm not trying to, not back. But if AB comes out
Joe
here,
Blow?
if AB comes out here and he does the test on it, and he does the primary for the roof, and he gets a bad reading, and then when y'all call us, say, look, we got a bad reading, I come in, AB's not here that day. And then I ask, okay, so what do y'all have set for y'all's primary? The bumper. That's what I got it set for. So I go out there and I test the bumper. Hey, I found nothing wrong with it. Okay, so what's going on? So then I have to back up and be like, okay, did he maybe do it the other way? Or is there really something wrong? Is there nothing wrong? Or is it just a glitch in the system? It goes to a laundry list of things. That's why it's important to keep the slave the same way. Then I'm just going to hit the under truck so that way I can show you what's going on. So I'm going to select it. Then you would hit start. You can do all these at one time. You literally can test the whole truck at one setting. You can select multiples all the time if you wanted to. So I'm just going to hit start and do that one. So when I hit start, it tells me what to do. All right, and then when you go to that mode, it'll tell you a next step. It's best that we don't do it right now because the truck's not running. But once you engage the foam system, it's telling you to actually go hit the foam button inside the cab. Everything with this is done inside the cab. Nothing done here. Everything done at the cab.
It's best if you do two-man operation.
Yeah, you'll hit and hold the foam button, activate it, then you're gonna come back here and hit start. When you hit start, it'll have a countdown screen and it'll go all the way to 0, and then it'll ask you to save it. You have to save it. After you save it, then you can kill whatever light you're doing, and then if you have multiple, you're gonna hit next, and it'll tell you go to this one. Then you go to that one. If you're at the end of it, when you hit next, it'll come up to that screen like it looks like this one right here. It'll tell you to disengage the foam switch before exiting. If you don't disengage the foam before exiting, you're going to induce foam into the system.
So when he said that you could do multiple, you're going to check off multiple,
Yeah.
but you're going to do one at a time.
You can test the whole truck without a hydrant, with just the water on the truck. I recommend tying it to a hydrant to keep the level of the water tank at least above half. Me, it gets better numbers that way. That's just my preference and my opinion. What you're really supposed to do it every 6 months. So when this goes into mode, so you understand, when you put it in here, and I said it did everything for you, it's actually opening a ball valve that is tied right here, back there, that is going to induce water to this piping for it to go through that meter.
Just simulate.
Simulate.
It doesn't care that it's water or foam. The meter doesn't. It's just
Just
reading
wants
a
to make
number.
sure the system's functioning
It
properly.
just wants to make sure the system's functioning properly. So you're going to put water through the meter valve out the truck, out to the front, and it's going to meter the water inside the water to do that. Ecologic foam testing system. This ties in with your Ecologic.
No touch. No touch.
Y'all should never mess with this. This is just a preset that tells it electronically what to do. Do not mess with this. Do not touch it. Act like it's invisible.
Don't ever touch. You understand? Don't go in there. Don't touch it! I was at about 6 there. You don't want to see me go to 10.
How sensitive is this to water? Let's say we're spraying water, the wind's catching. Should we just close the compartment so it doesn't, like, you know, get
I'm
wet?
gonna say it's
Or,
water resistant, not waterproof.
so maybe we should
So it can get wet, but not.
maybe put a shield on it, like a plastic shield or something on it, or no?
No, I wouldn't
No?
go to that major.
Okay, all right.
He does.
I mean, most of the time, if you're doing this and you're doing mop up,
Yeah.
you're gonna be the hose reel's way out here,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's not gonna be no issue. And if you're fighting it from in the cab, the doors are gonna be shut anyhow.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Well, I guess you can also say, how about if they're doing compartment cleaning and they're getting the garden hose and spraying it down? Someone decides to spray it.
I don't
Should
know.
be
about-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All right.
Don't do it.
All right, don't do it.
All right.
Rags.
This is
Transfer pump.
Yeah.
foam transfer pump. There's a placard here that tells you what to do, and a placard here that tells you what to do.
Same placard.
Same step for step. All right, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna hook right here where you're coming from. And you're going to either pump it up to fill, off is in the middle, or empty. So it will unload it and it will offload it. Whatever you want to do, just make sure you're doing it. And you have to have this open. I already have it open because I'm draining the tank. So the procedure would be hook up to whatever you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to load, you're going to hook up to a suction, put it into your tote or whatever, have it ready. You're going to open this up so that way you have your opening to it, and then you're going to hit fill and it's going to suck it from there and put it on there.
That's it.
Run this no more than consecutively of 15 minutes with at least a 5 to 10 minute breathe down or cool off.
If it doesn't fill up by that time.
Well, he mentioned that it only fills, those 15 minutes will only fill up about 200 gallon-ish.
Somewhere around there.
Do not run more than 15
We're going to trust but verify. We'll know for
We'll
sure.
do it today.
So 15 on, 5 off? More or less?
5 to 10 off, somewhere right in there.
So like a 60% duty cycle type of deal.
Something like that. You know,
Cool down.
use your educated guess, but that's what I recommend. So you don't burn the pump up. All right, in the event that this messes up, there is a override right here. You can open this valve. It creates it to go around the foam pump into the foam system. So you would still have to open this ball valve, but you would not have to use this at all. And you can let gravity take effect like I did the other
Take
day
it out.
to let it flow out, or you have another air pump out here to put it in there,
Pressurize it in.
to pump it in. Say it again.
What type of holes does it use?
It ties right here.
Well, the holes that we're gonna put, it's gonna go into the bucket, correct?
Yeah, it'll go into the bucket. Inductor. It's not an inductor.
No?
This is the load. The
That's
foam
gonna
pump.
But if this thing was to fail, you can use
An external pump,
Like the old system that we
You
had.
can put an external pump on it to
The old
pump it.
system that we got.
But you're not going to use it because it's contaminated. It has PFAS in it. So we're going to have to buy a new external foam.
Look, that's got PFAS, that's got PFAS, that's got PFAS. Theoretically. This is draining
All right.
for the foam system. That if you'll follow them back, they drain the piping out on that some. All right, this is flush. So this flush, what it does is it puts water into this foam pump to flush all the foam out of it
After you're done.
after you're done. All right.
So we're gonna be doing that today, right?
Yes.
Any questions on any of that?
No, sir.
All right. So let's move around to the backside.
What are these for again?
Foam drain.
Foam drains.
If you'll look, it says foam drain there.
So you can use either one.
You can use both of them. So they go to different spots.
So that's just residual, what's ever left in the pipes, right? Yeah.
So if you follow this hose out, see it'll go to that
Yeah.
that up there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it'll go to this side of that pipe.
This side and the other one.
And the
goes to
other one, see how the other one
Yeah.
goes right there?
All right.
So it just takes the residual whatever's in there out.
Yeah.
Operator inhibit switch. You see it?
Operator inhibit switch.
See how it illuminates orange? That's going to disable the engine. So I guess if you wanted to play with somebody, you could do this, and it would never crank or run or do anything.
Or for mechanics,
But
they're gonna work
It's a
on it.
maintenance mode.
Audio.
Yes. It's a kill switch, and that way, to protect us if we're working on the unit. So somebody can't come in there and just, if your hands are all deep in there and they try to do something, it won't allow it to do anything. All right, this is your DEF tank. Your DEF filter is located right here inside of a housing. This is your diesel tank. Did you get us some? By the way?
Yes,
We
have
a couple of question.
Answer.
What type of DEF does it use? Because I know these newer trucks are using DEF Platinum and get DEF regular. As long as it's DEF.
That's a gimmick. Okay, I'm just gonna be real straight up honest with you. It's just a different additive added into it. So you can use any kind of DEF. I recommend not to store any DEF, and don't buy it in bulk. Is what I do recommend.
Sure, to avoid.
So this truck is not gonna burn DEF like your pickup truck will. I mean, you see how your pickup truck goes almost a whole oil change before you gotta put DEF in it. Same concept here. I do recommend that you keep this truck at halfway or more at all times because of the terrain of the truck and how it's going to move and flex. You don't want it to catch an air pocket. If for some reason it is going into a burn, which you probably won't ever recognize it hardly at all, but when it goes through a burn, you do not want it to catch air. You want it to be able to do what it's supposed to do and be able to blow off. But
Will it go like into a limp mode if it gets
yes,
air?
it will go into limp mode just like a pickup truck. We're going to see the little reservoir right there. There should never be anything in there. That is an overflow reservoir. If there is something for antifreeze, for coolant. So if there's something in there, either A, somebody put it in there, or there's somebody overflowed the system, or something's wrong.
Empty.
Should always be empty.
Okay. You get that on.
Now,
Busted fidgets.
that sight, there's a sight glass on that black up there in the top. See that sight glass right there? That's where you indicate whether you're full or not with your antifreeze. As long as you sit in the sight glass, you should be good to go.
Is level in the middle, bottom, top?
As long as you see it.
As long as you see it. As long as
Should
you
be
see
good.
some type of fluid, you can reach.
Hydraulic oil. There is a placard that tells you exactly what they are. As long as it's at least half or more, you're good to go. Prime button for fuel system. Key switch has to be on for it to work. But in the event that if y'all had something going on, most likely y'all would not mess with it. You would hit this button to prime your system. See how you hear it come on?
For the fuel, right?
For the fuel. Fuel filter. Then you have your charge, transmission pump filter, and your hydraulic power divider filter. Tucked in behind here is a lever with a description beside it. This is the manual override to engage the water pump. So if you cannot get the pump to engage with the switch inside the cab or on the pump panel, you come back here and you can manually lift this up and that will manually engage the water pump. I'm teaching you how to do it in the worst case scenario.
So does it have to be on neutral before kicking it override and then putting it on drive?
Has to be a neutral pump brake.
Okay.
Pump brake fluid.
All right.
And if you're wanting to know about the viscosities and quantities of the oil and everything, it's all right here. It's a plaque right here.
Can you see a little bit better?
This is your engine PDP and like your power conditioner panel, your transmission module, stuff to that nature, and your main relay for the back. So these are fuses and relays for the engine compartment. an engine. This is water resistant, not waterproof. Not waterproof. So when y'all wash the truck, this does not mean spray it right there. Yes, you can spray around and get your soap off and everything, but do not put a constant spray of water to it.
I don't get it. Why would you leave it so exposed?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to.
I understand it's water resistant, but if you wash the truck,
The inside, inside.
the lever.
Yes, I was going to talk about this as well.
Be careful, don't slam it.
So this, you push against this and do that. That's how you do it. You see the step slides in and out. You make sure before you ever put your butt on this that this is locked. Because if you do not have it locked and it's not locked, see how I'm making sure it's locked? You're going to put your foot right here and you're going to press against it and your butt's going to be on that ground. Trust me, done it. Been there, done that. You have your toe rings here.
At 6? 6 is open.
This is not designed to pull something else. Not saying it won't, but it's not designed to pull something else. In this area, you probably won't ever use it, but this is the heater block for this truck. This is your auto eject for your battery charger and your auxiliary compressor.
The same as regular, okay.
It's a 20 amp plug. It's a 20 amp plug. And so it's going to be the one that's sideways. Yeah, this is like when it's freezing temperature, which is when you would normally use that. It's not a typical thing around here. Y'all are inside a bay or whatever. You know? I mean, if you don't use it in your diesel out there, you wouldn't have to use it for this. And all it does is the engine. It just does nothing else. It is very vital that this truck stays plugged up at all times. At all times. So when it is dormant, sitting like right now, it needs to be plugged up to the battery charger. If you're at a scene running, it doesn't have to be plugged up. If you're going somewhere and you stop and kill the vehicle and you're taking care of a patient or whatever, it does not have to be plugged up. But if it's in the station or you're going to sit outside the station, you need to plug it up.
For long periods.
For long periods of times. You know,
If it's not.
yeah, if it's not on, to maintain the battery. All right. I don't know if y'all heard me before, but the concept of that is every key cycle switch of the key is a 6-hour window of it talking to itself. So when you turn the key on, you let it proof out and everything, and you turn the key back off, for 6 hours, up to 6 hours, all the modules are talking to itself. So it's a drain on the batteries. So that's why we want to keep it plugged up, so we keep the battery voltage to the proper voltage. It doesn't do no load shedding. It doesn't give us a ghost code, because if it gets below voltage, it could maybe not talk to this one and it be there. And then it throw you a ghost code and it really be nothing wrong with the truck. But it just been because you didn't plug it up. Something that simple. That's why I recommend keeping it plugged up.
If I know sometimes we go to Station 6 and we're standing by because we're doing a class over there, should we find a way to plug it in?
If you're going to be over there all day, I would recommend plugging it up.
It shouldn't be unplugged more than how many hours? Is there like an idea?
There's not a given time set frame. If you're going over there for a class for the day, probably not a big issue. I would recommend plugging it up. That's probably not a big issue. I mean, it's obvious the truck sat here for a very long period of time and was not plugged up until I got here. So it's obvious that it's not a big deal. But I would recommend plugging it up. If you're going to sit there for a long time, just so you ain't got no issues and no problems. A, it has your onboard air compressor. So if you're in standby over there and you're doing all your training or whatever, your onboard compressor is going to keep it up to 60 psi. So when you get in it in an emergency situation, you can turn over, crank the truck, and you can leave. You don't have to sit there and wait for it to build air. You leave right then and there. If you didn't have it plugged up, age of the truck, air bleeds down below 60, you're going to have to wait for it to crank up and build up air and then leave. It's a time thing, you know. It might not be 5-6 seconds difference, but that 5 or 6 difference, you know, makes a difference in a fire. Cover up there, it says compressor, air compressor. That is where your auxiliary air compressor is for this truck. It's behind there.
That's one that gives power to that one over there.
That's the one that maintains 60 psi in this truck. That is not the one that gives power to that one over there. That line over there is tied to the whole truck. It's tied to the air tanks of the truck. So if the truck has 150 psi, that's what that line has. Theoretically, just giving you a number. Y'all don't have a winterization system, so that next shelf is nothing but storing. You can store something in there if you wanted to. Then right here and here is your auto lube system. There's a manual. You can read it up on it. You can change intervals and everything. It does take a special type of grease, and there's a special hose to load and unload with. So you have to make sure you read the specs on that to get the right kind of grease and everything to load it up.
You guys can do it
It does have a duty cycle, the whole 9 yards. And there's a manual that AB has in his office that goes over all that. If it has a code on it or whatever. The box right beside it is the 110 system. So like breakers and everything for like the battery system. And if it had a 110 plug in this truck or whatever, it would have that. That's for that system. That's where all them auto ejects tie in together at. For your 110 system to run stuff. All right. The black box is your battery charger. It is labeled above it. On the side of it, it gives you indication of it having power, what the level of the batteries are, and vice versa of that kind of nature. To this side over here, you have 2 jump off posts. This is a 24-volt truck. So you do not have to remove the battery cover. You can tie positive and ground to the post leads and jump the truck off with a 24-volt system. It is not a 12-volt system. It is a 24-volt system. All right, before I remove this placard here, I want to show you this is the master switch on this truck. All right, there is a sequence into turning this off.
Interesting.
Oh, that's what you were saying, right?
That's
about switching the...
Yes, it's very vital you listen to it. So if you turn the key on and you have it running, you kill it. You need to wait at least 5 minutes or more before you ever turn this off. So that way everybody can talk to everybody and then they can be quiet about it. All right, so in the event you get ghost codes, which these newer trucks are not getting them as much, but the Gen 2s were, you would come back here and I'd tell you to do a hard reset. So what this is doing is when you do a hard reset like this, you just turn everything off. Everything does not have power no more. Even that 6-hour mark, it is dead. So when I turn this back on, and I turn the ignition on up there, it's like a family reunion that you hadn't seen your family for a long period of time. Everybody wants to talk to everybody, so everybody's gonna poop everybody out. I'm gonna make everybody talk to everybody doing that. That's what a hard reset is on this truck when I say hard reset. You should never have to do that unless I instruct you to do that. Now, with it being on, the indication to know that your master switch is on, this will only work as if the master switch is on. If it's in the off position, it will not work. That's how you'll know your master switch is on. And that tells you your voltage of what the truck is. All right.
So once it does a hard reset, it takes how long before the truck can actually run?
It's almost simultaneously, but the screen and all that are gonna have to be booted back up and everything. So it does take a little longer.
Okay.
I mean, it's almost instant, but it is not exactly.
Yeah.
So I would say 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. That's still pretty
I'm guessing
fast.
30
yeah.
seconds to a minute, something to that nature.
Okay.
All right, now I'm gonna raise this up. Not that y'all will do it, but if y'all have to help somebody replace the batteries, there is a wiring diagram for the batteries to show you how to hook the batteries up.
The lifespan of the battery.
Forever.
For 5 years, I think is what it is. I took this off so I can show you the different color code coordination of this truck. As of what I said before, this truck is a 24-volt truck. The yellow is a 12-volt system. So if you went yellow to black, you would have 12 volts. This yellow wire runs all the way down the frame and under the cab. I'll show you here in just a minute. Inside the cab, you have a 12-volt source under the cab, under the cab and everything. So I can show you that. So you have a place to put radios or another charger or whatever. That's a 12-volt system. There is a dedicated line all the way up there. I'll show it to you in a little bit. Red means 24. Red is going to be your 24, and black is always going to be your ground. But I open that up because I want to show you that it does have a 12-volt dedicated system,
12
line.
and 24.
Yellow is 12, red 24, black is just.
So the electric motors that control
Black is brown.
the nozzles are 12 or 24?
Should be 24, I believe.
Should be 24? Okay.
Depending on the variants. The whole truck is a 24-volt system.
Okay, yeah, okay. So then, so all the motors,
So when you go to a turret's gonna module,
uh-huh,
and it'll step it down to whatever it's gonna be.
okay.
So if it's a 5-volt system, that module's gonna take in 24 volts, and it's gonna put out the 5 volts or whatever it needs.
Okay.
So if it's an actuator and it's supposed to have 5 volts to it, 0 to 5 volts is what it's gonna do. If it's a sensor, 0 to 5 volts. That module is going to tell that module what to do.
Okay.
But overall, this truck is a 24-volt system. So it's going to have 24 volts to there. That's a centrifuge filter up under there.
Oh, the
This is an oil filter, and this is a fuel filter.
Okay. All right.
If you come up here, and you look straight behind here,
Okay.
that is your air compressor for the truck.
Okay, all right.
In this compartment, y'all have shelving, of course, here, and then y'all put a pegboard in here so y'all can hang different tools, whatever nature y'all want. And then y'all have added fire extinguishers, is what y'all got that for. Always make sure that it locks before you put the door down. This will be able to be raised and lowered. You can make it up here high, see the little rails? You can raise it and adjust the height of it, up and down, full extent. But you need to always make sure that when it closes, that it locks in place. So when you shut the door, it doesn't come out there and hit it, because it will make it hard to get that door open. This is how you open it and close it. This will lock in place. So if you have it open and you turn it this way, it will lock and not be able to close. So make sure you keep the wording upright where you're at so you can open and close it. If you pull it out and turn it, and then you're overfilling the truck and you try to put it in there, it won't go in there. You need to turn it back where the wording's facing you the right way to close it back up. You got your drain is right here, your T-handle. You drain it out so that way you can take your hose off, on and off. Then back here in this back corner, that is a foam drain. On this truck, y'all don't have the option for it to come out. There are some trucks that has the option for that to come out over here. And where that other one has that other spigot would be a spigot right here. So you can load and offload foam from this side. Y'all have just the drain. Make sure that stays closed because that goes all the way to the ground. And I got it open right now to let it air out. But it would literally drain the whole foam tank. Now it's only a quarter line, but over a period of time will make a big mess. This one is adjustable, this one's not. Make sure they're latched all the way before you always double check, make sure they're shut all the way. So this is your nitrogen bottle for your dry chem system. It has a pressure gauge on the top of it to read it, what it's reading at. Then you also have a gauge here to read it. To tell you what the bottle is.
What's the max on these? Same thing as
There is a placard right here that tells you.
Field 26.
The thing is 2600.
2650, 2640 for max, 2500 for minimum on filling. You go to 1750 and the bottle has to be refilled. If it's below 1750, the dry chem system will not work. If it's below 1750, the dry chem system will not work. There is lid or cap for the bottle. These bottles, since y'all have this system right here, the breathing air refill, this bottle can stay on this truck and you never have to take it off. I'd recommend at 7 years you go get it hydro tested. At 10 years you replace the bottle. With this technology, y'all have this line that's going to tie to your cascade system over there. And it's going to come right here and tie into this line from your cascade system there with this line. You're going to turn your cascade system on and you're going to have somebody here watch it till it gets to your 26 PSI and you're going to turn it off. And that refills that bottle back up with breathing air because it is dry air. You can mix it. You can mix it with breathing air because nitrogen is a dry gas. Breathing air is a dry air. You cannot take an air compressor and fill this up because you can't take water in your lungs. That's why you have to have the cascade system to be able to breathe. Same concept with this. You got to treat it just like just your lungs. Dry chem does not handle moisture at all. That activates it.
So once it starts dropping foam, we just connect to the.
You can play with it and everything. It's a very good concept, very good thing to have because you can put it in blow down mode, like what we did on that screen earlier from the dash. and you can shoot the bumper and simulate you shooting the bumper and going through all the joystick motions other than that, and not actually shooting the product. And you actually go over there and run the reel to go through all the motions of actually shooting it, but not actually shooting powder and wasting powder. The only thing you're wasting is nitrogen, but you have the breathing air now, so it doesn't cost you nothing. You just fill it back up.
You don't have to bring down the tank.
All right. There is a winch controller right here. Only works if the key switch is on. That winch controller is for this bottle to be removed. So if you're going to remove the bottle, you turn the key on, you flip this out, you take a 13 millimeter or 1/2 inch wrench, whatever you prefer, to loosen them up. That will slide out of here. You run the controller up to pick it up above that lip, and then you guide it out here and slide it on this down to the ground, and then your bottle's out here. Now, you need to turn the valve off and have that line off before you do all that, of course. But I want to make sure that's said to as well.
Disconnected.
Yeah.
When in doubt, you don't remember how to do anything or remember anything I said, there's a placard here to tell you step by step what to do. So this right here, same concept as over there. This is your other discharge, color coordinated, open, close. Now this tray has two options. This tray has an option of pulling this and it coming out, and if there's something there, it knock you in the head. If you're not paying attention, if you're short like I am.
Not me.
All right. Or you come back.
Still missing.
You have another option. You come up out here. So it has two options. If you shove it hard, it will do it. I don't like to do that. I like to put it there and then pull the trigger and let it go in. I haven't mentioned it on all the other ones, but there is labels right here. Like this one says storage capacity 250 pounds. So you put 250 pounds in here. See the little red rubber grommet and the black rubber grommet? It has silicone on it. That is a live 24 volt wire. So if you put something in here and it rubs against that silicone and it gets to the stud, you're going to short out. So be aware of that. Normally in this side, it would have like a hose reel or something to that nature on this side. But y'all put it on the other side. All the brains to the truck is right here now. Instead of all up in the dash and everything, they're right here. There's compartments in there for the brains and stuff. So if you open up this door right here, that's the fuses and relays for the cab. That's a 24 volt system right there. Right here is your 12 volt system, fuses and relays. And that's your diagnostic switch, and that's another one of them things you do not mess with, because you'll upload the program to it. These are your main relays. One is a switch power and one is unswitched power. This one is, this one's a switch power. You might have to climb up in here, but if you look over here to this side, you will see that yellow stud I was talking about. You had to climb up in there and look a little bit, but you can see the yellow stud. All right, I done that to show you that this doesn't have to be with the truck running. All you have to do is have the key switch on. Windshield wiper fluid goes over here.
Vamos a pintar las tapas o
But this
algo.
won't run independent without the truck running. As long as the key switch is on, it will raise up and down.
Were you saying about the
Yeah.
P1939 or no? What is these wires there?
That's all air.
Just all air.
That's airlines.
Okay.
I can show you a J1939 line if you want me to. We can go over to the other compartment over there. I can show you what I'm talking about. The yellow and green one. I can show you that. That's airlines going from the brake valve and all that kind of stuff. All right, so we have any questions about this? This nozzle has an auto level built into it. So if you're up here and you're facing at the sky, I don't know if y'all were paying attention. You see how when I had it, it was already in one arch. This stayed with the contour of it as I went down. So it's gonna hold your position. So if you put it in the ground, it's gonna keep it going to the ground wherever you had it pointed at versus where it's going down. There is no button to make it do it. It just does it by itself. You can go down, but you can't come back up. I recommend not doing that whatsoever unless you know your terrain. Because there is no sensor to tell you that there's a big rock right here, unless you physically see it with your eyeball. It has a threshold of this is how far I'm gonna go down, and this sensor tells it this is how far I'm gonna go up.
Lloyd said
there's
10
no in
inches.
between.
It's 10 inches from the ground.
So there's no in between.
No, it can stop midways.
No, it can stop in midways, but once you activate it, you can't go back up.
If you do it in the right sequence. You can't. So if you push and hold for like the momentary thing, it's going to automatically deploy it down. But if you bump it and let off of it, and then bump it again, it will allow you to keep bumping on and off momentary to let it go down.
But-
Now, there is no finesse to it. So like when you're hitting the button, it's going to go so much and so much and so much. There is no, if I barely touch it, it's going to go 4 inches. No, there is no finesse of, okay, it's going to go 4 inches every time or 6 inches. There's no finesse to that nature, but it will stop. If you're flowing water, it will not allow you to go back up. It will allow you the downstroke, but it will not allow you the upstroke. It will throw a code over the daggum command zone screen saying in pump mode, not able to park, or something to that
So
nature.
then shut it
Not the
off.
exact verbiage I just said, but it'll be a verbiage of that sort.
Does this have a drain when you're gonna store it away?
Yes, the drain is right here.
And it's always open.
It's always open, or we have
It's
to-
always open.
Always open.
It's an auto drain.
Okay, it's another drain. Yeah, when you're.
It's got its own electric motor, its own hydraulic pump, and its own hydraulic reservoir. And it's using J1939 through the truck to go to that switch to raise and lower it, and has a sensor for its threshold to stop.
How often should we be checking that level?
I would check it annually with it in the up position. I would change it annually based on how much you use it. Yeah, that'll be an item on the checklist.
So you guys will be coming annually also, as well?
According to AB, they bought a extended warranty on it.
8 years.
Your washer?
That's windshield wiper fluid.
Your shirt.
All that cookware and everything, there's got PFAS in it.
The makeup you wear has PFAS.
Just because you're a drag bitch doesn't mean
Oh,
everybody
man.
is.
That's hardcore right there.
Yeah, you don't want to see pictures, man.
Anything can be added to this truck. It takes this,
¿Te
and it
acuerdas
can
que
be
te había
added.
preguntado?
Like I said earlier, it's all wired and plumbed to do all that. It's just adding the extra parts that needs to be doing all
So it
that.
wouldn't be
Que
that
no lo
hard.
pusieron.
That difficult. It just would be a money issue.
Pues ya le falló, está en el teléfono.
But if you were to be drafting from the ocean, this is where you're connecting to. First of all,
From a body of water. Body of water. A body of water.
I mean, it's right.
Body of water, please.
He was being a smart ass.
Body of water.
Hey, it takes a lot of water.
I'll
What he's
take
trying
you to the
say is
ocean
it takes
right
a lot
now.
of water, so you're not going to be drafting.